What is going on, guys, and welcome to the Fastlane review show. Excuse me, Jesus Christ, what happened to my voice? We're going to be talking about Fastlane, the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania Raw exclusive pay-per-view. It followed a trend, really, of disappointing Raw exclusive pay-per-views. We've had Clash of Champions, we've had Hell in a Cell, which I suppose was okay, we've had Roadblock, and now Fastlane. All were pretty bang average, really. I thought tonight's probably the worst of the bunch. Although you could argue Clash of Champions was probably worst of the bunch. Whereas when you compare it to SmackDown's exclusive pay-per-views, No Mercy was very good, Backlash was very good, TLC was very good, and Elimination Chamber was very good too. So, or at least it was okay. I mean, I must admit I am a little bit disappointed. I'm massively disappointed. But at the end of the day, a lot of what happened I knew was going to happen. So I'm not exactly surprised, if you see what I'm saying by that, and by what transpired. Now, hopefully, and I'm sure WrestleMania will be so much better. The problem Raw has is a couple of things, and we'll talk about them as we get through the video. But it is relying on old-timers, part-timers. It's relying on Roman Reigns, and it is just obsessed with pushing Roman Reigns to the top, really. And look, nobody wants that, or at least not a lot of us want that. And I think the vast majority of people don't want Reigns going to the top, but he still goes to the top. And I think it's frustrating for a lot of people. I thought a lot of matches failed to live up to expectation. I think it's clear what was match of the night, and I believe that's Neville versus Gallagher. And it wasn't even a fantastic match, but it was a good match. There was nothing outstanding. The main event sucked. They missed a lot of opportunities. To have, I mean, it was just a big disappointment, really. And there's no real other way to. I'm not beating around the bush. It was a disappointing show, and hopefully things improve in time for WrestleMania, because they need to. And Raw really needs to get its arse into gear. Otherwise, SmackDown proportion of everything will absolutely, be very, very much better than Raw. But, I mean, looking at this, even though the pay-per-view is very, very disappointing, I did think to myself coming out of it, at the end of the day, I still think I'm still looking forward to Raw. This was almost as if it was a one-off. What it set up for WrestleMania is okay, even though how we got to it all was pretty poor. What it has set up is okay, so I'm not that disappointed, if you see what I'm saying. That said, though, things do need to improve, and Raw needs to change how it is. It needs to change what it's doing. It needs to stop doing exactly the opposite to what everybody wants. Goldberg, a guy who's been gone for 13 odd years, coming back, or however long it was, 11 years, coming back and winning a title that off Kevin Owens in 21 seconds, as it was. It's not acceptable. And I mean, I'm not a lover of CM Punk. I was never a massive fan of his. But you can understand why people like him get pissed off. There's people there who work their arse off week in, week out, and they don't get the chance at the title. They don't get that opportunity, but somebody like Goldberg does. And I understand that Goldberg's built his name up, but at the same time, this guy, if he cannot go longer than a few seconds, is not deserved of the Universal title. What has he done to deserve it? I'm not happy with the main event. I thought a lot of what happened and what we saw last night really didn't live up to expectation. It was very, very disappointing. And, we'll go through it now in chronological order, of course. And as I say, it was just largely disappointing. I mean, I didn't enjoy the show. I didn't hate it at the same time. I wasn't in a terrible mood when watching it. If I'd have been in a bad mood, it would have been even worse. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. I'm glad I stayed up in some respects, and in other respects I'm not. But it just seems like it was the same old shit. And it's just a shame. It's a crying shame, because it could have been a very, very good show. As it was very, very bad. Let's go through it then. Let's start with the Cruiserweight tag match on the pre-show. It got, 10 odd minutes, more than what it gets on Raw, so that was nice. But the match really never got going. It was nothing too special. Nice sequence from Swann in the middle. The face team won, not much to mention. But yeah, the face team won, simple as that. And it was okay. But it just, for me, what it did, it was just highlighted everything wrong with the Cruiserweights, how they just haven't got over, how nobody's really interested in it. So it was largely disappointing. We then saw, in the first match of the night, we opened the show with Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. Didn't mind the fact it opened. This was a largely a Joe masterclass, in my opinion. It wasn't fantastic. It didn't steal the show. It could have been a hell of a lot better. But I think it was there. It served its purpose. Zayn, as always, told a great story throughout the match. Joe came out of it looking like an ass kicker. Zayn came out of it looking like that beloved baby face who just can't get over that next line that's kind of stuck in transition, which is 100% true. It'd be interesting to see where Zayn goes from here. As I say, I think a draft to SmackDown would be the smartest thing for him. As for Joe, what's his plans for WrestleMania? Well, we'll find that out tonight, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what his plans for WrestleMania are. But a solid win for Samoa Joe, debut pay-per-view win, Zayn being beaten by submission in a match which was okay, but could have been a hell of a lot better, but served its purpose. Next up, the Raw Tag title matches. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. So the champs did retain, and that was about all that was good about this match, was the fact that they retained. They did a little bit of cheating at the end, don't mind that. They're a heel team, don't mind that at all. I'm glad Enzo Amore and Big Cass didn't win the title. I really hope we don't have to see this match at WrestleMania. Oh my god, that makes me want to kill myself. Hopefully we just get a rematch on Raw and it's done with. But yeah, the match itself was bang average, nothing too special at all, pretty boring. I think it was okay technically, but I think it was made boring by the fact that I'm not invested in Amore Cass. I didn't want them to win the title. There's one spot where I thought, shit, they might actually do it here. But then Big Cass, like an absolute retard, stood there celebrating with his back turned. So I think it was Luke Gallows, and I was like, what the fuck? But anyway, I mean, Big Cass turns into Lenny from Mice and Men more by the day. But yeah, it was one of those matches that, because I wasn't invested in Enzo Amore and Big Cass, didn't want to see him win the title. And the fact that Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows have been booked to shit recently, yeah, I mean, it didn't really do it for me, and I don't think I was the only one. So, you know, it was a slow start to the show, and you're thinking, right, well, is it going to get kicked into gear? And I suppose this was a decent matchup. They were one of the best of the night, really, and who'd have thought that? Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. You know, I thought it was good. I thought we saw some different offense from Nia Jax, showing that she can have a decent match. She's capable of a decent match without a shadow of a doubt. I said this was a difficult one to book and to get the correct winner type thing, and up to this point I'd predicted absolutely everything right on the show, but I did get this one wrong. But I don't mind how it happened, because what kind of happened was Jax dominated for large parts of this match. She was dominant, she was vicious, she was brutal, she was, as I say, dominant. She looked like the beast that we know her to be, and that her momentum has built. But at the same time, she didn't win, and she just didn't get over the line. And Banks got that lucky roll up, but she came out of it looking like, you know, Banks can still hang with the best of them. And if you stick around against the big people, against the big guys, against these monsters, you've always got a chance. And I think it was good. I think it's a way of making Banks look good, get a good win, and get revenge over Nia Jax. What happened at the Royal Rumble is a good way to keep Nia Jax's momentum going, keep her looking like the arse kicker. If we go into WrestleMania as the Fatal 4-Way, these two are hot. These two are ready for the title match. And you have to say Nia Jax probably will still go in as the favourite. So a decent match, to say the least. Not anything massively special, but a good match. We then saw something that had happened on the pre-show, where Jinder Mahal and Rusev, the tag team of Jinder Mahal and Rusev, apparently they're broken up. And Mick Foley wanted to put it as a 7-man series. It's best of 7 series. And funnily enough, everyone said no to that. So he said, you know what, I'll both give you individual singles matches. So we saw Cesaro versus Jinder Mahal. You know, Jinder Mahal, I think the problem with him is he's got a dead character. His character's dead in the water. And even though he's okay in the ring, you know, he's bloody fucking all the size of him, But his character's dead. He needs a new Hall. He needs to be not redesigned, repackaged. Something needs to happen there with him, and who knows, he could come back and be something special. But and I'm not saying I'm not looking forward to Jinder Mahal Rusev in that kind of one-on-one if we get it on Raw, because I think it will be okay. Should be used as Rusev launching pad, and at one point I did think this was a way of Rusev becoming a face, but I still don't know about that. Cesaro getting the win, was pissed off he wasn't on the show. The match was not good at all, if I'm honest with you. It was a slow affair. It was, there wasn't a lot of stakes to it. As I say, Mahal's character's dead. Cesaro, he didn't put in his best work. I can't lie there. But he did get the victory on pay-per-view. Cesaro, Jinder Mahal with the loss. And after the match, Rusev attacked Jinder Mahal after Mahal attacked Rusev before the match. So then we had Rusev's match straight away. And at this point, everybody on Twitter was saying it, and they proved to be right. This was clearly to fill up time because the main event was going to be 21 seconds long. And it was. Big Show versus Rusev. I mean, personally, I like this match a lot better than Cesaro Jinder Mahal. It was one of the matches I really did enjoy on the show, madly enough. I know it wasn't anything that special, but I think Big Show, he's come back. He's ripped. He looks in shape. Seeing him versus Rusev was very, very good. He's got that extra yard of pace as Big Show, and he's come a long way. And, the please retire chants of... I saw someone tweet about it. The please retire chants that we got a few years ago are long in the memory now. I think Big Show's still got another decent run in him. Do I want to see him the Universal Champion? No. But I think he is a very, very good start. He feels like a legitimate giant again. The Braun Strowman Big Show match was very, very good. He's got a couple of interesting feuds left in him. I thought at one point he was turning heel again, but I don't think he did. He's got something to give. Maybe one last title run with perhaps the US title. But I think he has a purpose and a value on the Raw roster, and it'd be interesting to see exactly how WWE used that. Rusev, yes, he did lose, but it took Big Show 3 choke slams, so he wasn't buried at the same time. Yes, obviously Rusev, since the whole John Cena thing at Mania a couple of years ago, has not really got back to the momentum which he has, which we all expected. But again, I think something for Rusev, hopefully, that's in the offing, is a draft to SmackDown Live. And a new a new Rusev, a new handsome Rusev. And when it was handsome Rusev versus Big Show, it reminded me of Cody Rhodes versus Big Show and their feud that they had. WrestleMania 28, 9, 7. I don't know which one. But anyway, I don't know. That wasn't really relevant. But, I didn't mind this one at all, to be honest with you. We then got what, in my opinion, was quite comfortably match of the night. That being the Cruiserweight Championship match. Jack Gallagher versus Neville. I mean, hands down, I think this was match of the night. I don't think anything else came really close. That's not to say it was a fantastic match, but it was very, very good. Gallagher came out of it looking very, very strong, but Neville came out of it looking like just a legitimate boss. A guy that really needs to 110% be on... what we need to see, I want to see Neville on the freaking main roster. That's what I want to see. I want to see him fighting for the US title. I want to see him in the face of a face champion who's a Universal Champion. So I do feel like it's a bit wasted on the Cruiserweight division. I will, admit that. I feel that way. However, he is making the Cruiserweights ever so slightly interesting. As I say, Jack Gallagher's headbutts were bloody brutal. I mean, you could physically hear them. They were horrible to listen to. But yeah, I mean, it was a very good match. I mean, the pace of the match was very, very good. They obviously at the start of the match it was a cruiserweight match. No one was particularly interested in the match, but Neville and Gallagher, credit to him. By the end of the match, they had everybody on the edge of their seat. Everybody was invested in the match, and that just goes to show the talent that was involved in the match. As I say, all British affair, which is nice to see as well. And although I wasn't looking forward to it coming into the show, the fact, in my opinion, it stole the show just goes to show how very, very good they were. Has it convinced me to watch 205 Live? No, but that's not because of these two. It's more because of the other rubbish on the show. I'll be interested to see who is up next for Neville. Hints of Austin Aries versus Neville. If that is the case, then well, it's going to be a big marquee matchup at WrestleMania, and one that I cannot wait to see. Neville versus Austin Aries could well and truly steal the show if given enough time and if given a good enough build-up. Again, I saw something last night, I can't remember where I read it from, but they were saying, why can the Cruiserweights not sort of intermingle with the main roster? You know, why can't we see Neville, the Cruiserweight champion, versus the US champion, a champions versus champion match? Why can't we see Neville take on somebody from the main roster? Why can't we see a little bit more of a because I think you could make it a lot more. I think that would make you be invested in the Cruiserweights if you saw somebody you're invested from the main roster take on somebody from the Cruiserweight division. For example, a Sami Zayn versus a Neville. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for the championship or anything like that. But hell, have a Cruiserweight tag team come after the tag team championships on Monday Night Raw. Well, there's an idea there. I mean, the tag team division on Raw is poor. It's stupid. Matt Hardy did tweet out after the club won the championships. Are they coming to delete the Raw tag team division at WrestleMania? We'll have to see. Club versus Hardy Boys. That's a match, folks, that I want to see. Will we get to see it on the grandest stage of all, Orlando, Florida, in 28 or 27 days? I don't know how many days it is. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But if we do, maybe the tag team division, which I think, coming out of the brand split, the one division, if you're looking on both shows, that really has flopped and has failed, other than obviously the Cruiserweights, but that isn't on both shows, has to be the tag team. But if Matt Hardy comes back and Jeff Hardy comes back, the Hardy Boys come back, one of the best tag teams we've ever seen in WWE. They come back to WWE for one last run after years of not being a tag team in WWE. Have that, and then you've also got the likelihood then of the revival going to SmackDown, the revival American Alpha. Oh my God, the tag team division instantly is revitalized, instantly becomes relevant and good again. If, and it's a big if, they're booked well. We did see a New Day filler segment as well. I can't honestly remember where that came in the show because it was so pointless. But I don't care about their ice cream. I don't care about them hosting the show at WrestleMania. And I simply don't care about them. Their ice cream is as stale as them. Although the ice cream's new, so that didn't really make a lot of sense. But at the same time, you know what I mean. They're stale, they're boring. They either need to change heel or they need to break up. This is the problem I have with factions in WWE. The creative decide to just take everything out of the faction until it's absolutely crap. And then maybe they break them up. But by that point, it is miles too late. That's why I liked when the Shield broke up. They broke up at the perfect time. People said it was too early. I disagreed. They were still hot. They were still a massive tag team. The crowd was cheering for them. They were getting pops every time they came out. If WWE would have waited 3-4 months more, they'd have lost that heat that they had. They'd have lost the faction would have just gone and faded into obscurity. And yes, it would have still been the Shield. It would have still been a big deal. But it wouldn't have been as a big deal. So breaking up factions when they're in their prime, when they're on a good run, when the crowd are hot for them, is a smart thing to do. They've missed the trick with the New Day. Can they bring back what they had with the New Day? And I don't think they can. I think they've missed a trick there. Still, the eventual breakup will be a good one, mainly because I think it will be the chance to see Kofi Kingston and Big E go on a singles push, but also because it will be the end of the whole New Day shenanigans, and it will mean we don't have to listen to them anymore. But they should have broke up, in my opinion, after they lost the tag team championships, or even before then. I know there'd have been tag champs, so that would have been a problem. But at the same time, it should have straight away really been after that. Or even SummerSlam with the Wyatt family. That would have been a perfect way to break them up. But it wasn't to be, and WWE have decided to zap every ounce of energy, every ounce of creativeness out of the New Day. They've got their ice cream. Punk will be pissed, and it's that's what it is. They're hosting WrestleMania, and God knows what lies ahead for them after WrestleMania. One of the most over tag teams, one of the most over factions we've seen in years in WWE, is now as stale as ever, and that is disappointing and a crying shame. It just goes to show how even when you think creative can't cock things up in WWE, they still somehow manage to. But guess what? Who are the mugs? Us, for continuing to watch. But it's not all bad, is it? Let's be honest. I did talk about the Cruiserweight match, so let's move on to the next part of the show. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. God and Bennett, this match was slow. I mean, I knew it was going to be a slow match. They're both big guys. But, I mean, honest to God, this was slower than I thought. Some people enjoyed this match. I can't say I enjoyed it that much, if I'm honest with you. I think it was because it was the fact that I'm just not invested in Roman friggin' Reigns. And I want him to turn heel pronto. Look, I liked his sneakers. I liked them. I liked the shoes. I thought they suited him. A lot of people criticised him on Twitter, but I actually thought they suited him. So, yeah, I didn't mind that, so that wasn't a criticism. Strowman looked good. Strowman looked strong. But at the same time, I did have a little bit of a meltdown when Roman Reigns won, because I simply felt like they'd ruined months of work with Braun Strowman. I have kind of reevaluated my position. He did come out of it looking very good. Reigns didn't have a lot of offense. He got put through a table. Strowman dominated the most of the match, large proportions of the match. And Roman Reigns, for the first time really since he was in the ring with Brock Lesnar, looked like he had met his match. Looked like he was facing somebody who could quite easily beat him at any point. And I think because Braun Strowman just didn't get it across the line, but he was so close and so dominant, he comes out looking very good. And on Raw Talk, credit where credit's due, Roman Reigns did do a good job of selling Braun Strowman's beatdown, selling that match, selling Strowman as a legitimate big guy and a big threat to him. So credit to Roman. The thing that annoys me is that Roman Reigns got to end the streak, or whatever you want to call it, of Braun Strowman. That disappointed me a little bit. And what else disappointed me is that we didn't get to see The Undertaker. I was expecting The Undertaker to come out at the end of the match, even though he didn't come out and interfere in the match, which was what I was expecting first thing. But it didn't happen. And I think because everybody expected that, we were all kind of looking forward to it, and it didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing. We will get Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It's going to happen. The My Yard comment, the stuff that happened on Raw Talk, it's happening. And hopefully we get to see Roman Reigns heel versus Undertaker face. And we start building what is going to be a very, very special character, a very special superstar. And maybe in a couple of years' time, after he's had his heel run and the crowd are loving him, you can turn him back face and Vince can have that face that he wants. Roman Reigns has to follow a family member in the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and how he did his career, turn heel, then turn face in a couple of years, and trust me, it's going to work out. It's not rocket science. It's whether Vince McMahon can bite his tongue, can swallow his pride, which for him could be very, very disappointing, and go, look, this hasn't worked as having Roman Reigns face initially. We've got to turn him heel, but by the end of it, I'm going to get what I want anyway, because I'm going to get him as a face that is over. It's whether he can swallow his pride and accept that and look at it the long term rather than the short term of him being happy with him being face. The crowd are really against Roman, and you can understand why, and it really makes at times Raw unwatchable when he is the Superman. It really is irritating. So Strowman gets the loss. What that means for him at WrestleMania, who knows? Probably the Andre the Giant battle Amore, if I had to make a guess. Maybe even the Big Show rematch. I don't know. But it's disappointing that he gets the loss. The big test now will be how he comes back from a loss, because I think that's always as big for these people. You know, when somebody goes on a massive winning streak, when a big guy goes on a massive winning streak, when Rusev did it, it was when they lose, how do they bounce back? And I think that will be the test as to tell whether Braun Strowman is going to be the next big guy, possibly one of the biggest and best big guys we've seen in WWE, or whether he's just going to be another guy who had a good run at the start but couldn't bounce back from that loss. It's up to creative, it's up to Strowman at the same time as well to see exactly how he reacts to this Roman Reigns loss. How would I do it? Have him on Raw tonight, absolutely tear the shit out of everybody and everything. That's how I do it. You can bounce back. The question is, will he bounce back? And we'll have to see. The Andre the Giant Battle Memorial is not the best way to make him bounce back, but if he wins it, it will be an okay option. Although you do kind of feel like it's a bit of a waste of Braun Strowman. But there you go. Moving on then to Bayley versus Charlotte. I can't say my interest was that much in this match. I was kind of sort of had a little game on my tablet while I was watching this match. It's because I'm not that interested. I don't think Bayley and Charlotte are as good as the Charlotte and Sasha Banks matches and the Sasha Banks Bayley. They always feel like they're missing something. I don't know what it is, but they just do. And I wasn't remotely bothered about this. And I was sure Charlotte was going to win it back. I mean, I was 100% sure. And she didn't. So that did surprise me. But I just feel like it was a little bit clunky. There were a few spots that are pretty poor. Slow to get going. And yeah, I mean, the ending was... It was so mad that I can't even remember what happened. Sasha Banks, I think, came out, kind of attacked Charlotte, and I was waiting for the DQ, and it never happened. So I don't get what happened there. I really don't understand that. And then Charlotte pinned Bayley. Bayley had her foot on the rope, if I remember rightly. Sasha Banks said, and then we had, was it a Bayley to? I don't know. But anyways, Bayley retained somehow. Sasha Banks was getting involved, and yeah, it was poor. It was a poor way to do it. It was a mess. It's the only way it could be described. It was a mess. We're going to the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. That I don't mind. The only thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, Sasha Banks is going to turn on Bayley." Well, she might, but then you've got 3 heels in the match and just 1 face. I mean, that does work, but does it work? You know, I don't know. But I think we need to see Sasha Banks turn on Bayley. The only other thing is, and the one thing that I'm kind of really hoping does happen, is the fact that we actually see, because Banks beat Nia Jax, and because Bayley's beaten Charlotte in a rematch, we get to see Banks turn on Bayley, and we see the rematch from NXT long time ago. I mean, they have got a storied rivalry of Bayley versus Banks at WrestleMania on the grandest stage of all, and then a women's match again, like last year. Arguably, it stole the show last year. It once again has the absolute chance to steal the show. And that would be, I mean, it would be an incredible match. And I really, really hope we get to see that. Will we? Again, who knows? But I think that would personally, for me, be the best option, is if we got to see that. I don't personally think that's what's going to happen. I think we are going to get the Fatal 4-Way match, which won't be a bad match. It's just not the one that I want. So, yeah, I mean, okay. As I say, it will be okay. But, yeah, I mean, this match, the shenanigans at the end kind of took away from what was a very decent match. Well, I don't know, I just said a very decent match. I'm completely lying to myself. I got distracted then. It took away from what was a poor match, really. And the whole match really felt slow, and the end felt like a mess. So, yeah, no, I didn't enjoy this too much. I might be being a little bit critical of it, but just for me, it just didn't. For me, it was a bit ugh. But there you go. Maybe it's just personal opinion, I suppose. We then got into the main event, and it was by the time Goldberg and Kevin Owens had got out, it was 4 o'clock, and I was like, for crying out loud. Which I think it might even have been 4:05 GMT time, and that's obviously 5 minutes over when the pay-per-view's meant to finish. So I was thinking, this is just a joke. This is going to last 20 minutes. I mean, the pop Kevin Owens got when he went out of the ring was hilarious. And it just goes to show that nobody wanted Goldberg the champ. Nobody wanted Goldberg the champ. A man that cannot wrestle any longer than a minute does not deserve to be the champ, for crying out loud. It's ridiculous. He's come back, he's done 3-4 minutes work, and all of a sudden he's the champion and he's taken the title off Kevin Owens. If I was Kevin Owens, I would be so goddamn pissed off, I can't even imagine it. Yes, it's Goldberg. Yes, he's built a name. But I mean, seriously, he needs to retire. If he can't hang with them, if he can't hang with the superstars, see you later, alligator. Go in the Hall of Fame. Lovely. We'll put a nice video package together of you. You have fun. But please, God, please, do not win the Universal title. But no, they had to bring him back and win the title. This is worse than The Rock winning it for me. This is worse than... I didn't mind Lesnar winning it. Because The Rock was able to hang in the match. He didn't squash Punk. He won, and it wasn't right because he'd just come back to almost promote a movie. But he hung. It was a decent match. It was a long match. It went 15, 20 minutes. Same with Lesnar. You can not like the fact that a part-timer has the championship. And that's a point that I completely understand. But at the end of the day, you can't say that Lesnar and Rock didn't, in that match specifically, earn it. It wasn't a minute match. You know, Lesnar usually goes 20 minutes in his matches. Goldberg's not even going a minute, for crying out loud. I want to be excited. I honestly do want to be excited for Lesnar Goldberg. And I am, because I think it'll be the chance for Lesnar to beat down Goldberg finally and to put the coffin in the career of Bill Goldberg. And I'm not a lover of Goldberg, as you can imagine. But I'm fearful it's going to last a minute, because I don't think this man can go much longer. For me, it's crazy. For me, this was crazy. The fact Owens was getting a pop when he went out the ring before the match had started, you know. And look, the way it ended was, you know, Chris Jericho proving the distraction. Should have been the other way round. It should have been Lesnar proving the distraction to Goldberg, and Kevin Owens hitting him with 2 pop-up power bombs. Bang. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar has cost Goldberg the Universal title. Goldberg cost Lesnar the Royal Rumble and embarrassed him. Great. Kevin Owens is on Raw tomorrow night. Who comes out? Chris friggin' Jericho attacks him from behind. Bang. Their WrestleMania match for the Universal title. Legitimately has the chance to be one of the best matches on the card. Goldberg versus Lesnar doesn't need the title, but instead it's got it. And instead we're going to get Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, likely for the United States Championship. Which, yes, brings up that title significance to a certain extent. But at the same time, I'm disappointed. The only thing I can look at as a positive, really, is the fact that Goldberg won. The fact that he's facing Lesnar at WrestleMania probably means Lesnar's going to win the title, which means Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar, a dream match for me, we might actually get. That's the only positive. Everything that I feared would happen in this match did. Did Kevin Owens get squashed? No. He didn't look terribly... Well, he looked stupid coming out. He didn't look like a bad... He didn't like hang with Goldberg. Who knows? I know Kevin Owens is going to be squashed by Brock Lesnar in a couple of weeks' time. But basically, because of the Jericho distraction, it didn't make Owens look stupid. He didn't get squashed. But at the same time, I mean, seriously, I mean, it was a frustrating way to end what was a really poor show. I'm going to give the pay-per-view a 4.5 out of 10. I thought it was poor. And look, WrestleMania around the corner. Owens, Jericho, Goldberg, Lesnar, that's what we're going to get. We knew that before. But the fact that it's for the title, the Universal title, Goldberg versus Lesnar, is not something I'm excited for. I will probably get excited for this match, I'm not going to lie. I'm worried that it might not last that long. Quick note to the guy that had CNN is fake news in the crowd. That was funny. And I agree with him. CNN is fake news, folks. Yeah, but that was just a huge sign. And I loved it. And I know DT, Mr. Donald Trump, would have loved it too. So yeah, the CNN is fake news. That was funny. That was funny. I mean, it's hilarious, isn't it? The left decided to politicise everything. You know, the Oscars, everything you can think of. You name it. They politicise it. And then you see one guy with CNN is fake news in the front of the line, and you go on Twitter, and all these lefties having a meltdown. Why are you politicising this? Why are you making this about politics? As if you haven't done it for I don't know how many years. Shut the fuck up. You keep losing. Move on. Get over it. I thought it was funny. Anyway, show was disappointed. Main event was disappointed. How does Kevin Owens bounce back? What does this mean for goal? I mean, yeah. We'll just have to wait and see. I want to watch Raw because there's a lot of questions to be answered. I don't think it was a great show. Foley's in trouble. In big trouble. I think it'll be fired tonight. You know, interference in the Bayley Charlotte, sorry. Interference in the main event. Stephanie, she's not gonna be happy, and she gonna fire him. So yeah, no, well, I'm not gonna do a Raw preview. But put it this way, I'll be back for the Raw review at some point, similar sort of time tomorrow. But I'm going to get away, and I'm going to move on before I get too angry and start having a meltdown about what happened last night. But, yeah, the guy who is old enough to be everyone's granddad is the Universal Champion. After a 21-second match, ending the near 200-day reign of Kevin Owens. And as a Kevin Owens fan, I can't lie, I'm pissed off. But we're only 27 days away from Orlando, Florida, and WrestleMania 33. WWE Raw certainly has a lot to pick up. It has to take this into first gear, from first gear to 5th, 6th, 7th, if it wants WrestleMania to be good. Lots of questions. We don't know the answer to them yet, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But as I say, not that long until WrestleMania. And there's a lot of questions to answer. The road to WrestleMania went through its final roadblock, that being Fastlane. We're now just 4 weeks away from the show of shows, the grandest stage of all, WrestleMania. It's 4 weeks away, and I, for one, even though this show is shit, cannot wait, because I'm a fan. Simple as that. Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Or maybe I won't. Well, I will. So I don't know why I said that, but yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.